I used to be safety to my son, and I took that away from me. And I know this is something that happened to him, and that he was the most important part of that equation. But I can only process my own experiences. I can't process his experiences inside me. And my experience of the situation is that through not having better tools, not knowing any better, not thinking myself worthy of any better, I would neglect my son. If there was like a good at least 6 months where he was crying every day, all day. Every day, all day. No exaggeration. Every day, all day. For almost a year. I was burnt out in an abusive relationship, and also dealing with his father, who hasn't really been much of a support. Thank God for his parents. Otherwise, I would have had nobody. But he didn't help much. And my guilt kept me from asking his parents too often when we needed help, and we always needed help, because I was burnt out and had a lot of other traumas happening to me aside from my son. The guilt that I feel for hurting my son the way that I did caused me to change, right? I didn't allow it to become neurotic guilt, stew inside of me and drive everything that I do through fear and self-loathing. I used it to catapult a series of changes in myself that led to being able to change my behaviors towards my son, beginning with changing my behaviors towards myself. Once I started seeing myself as worthy of making those changes, worthy of not having to feel guilty all the time because I'm treating my son like a burden the way that I was treated. And he's not. He's such a blessing. He's taught me so much that I never would have probably even bothered looking at or in the direction of, if not for him needing me to. And the guilt gets bad sometimes when I think about how precious he is and how perfect he is, and how sad and scared he must have been so many times in the last 5 years, and not been able to come to me. And I used to be his safe place. It was always me and my baby. And in taking that from myself, my self-worth only got worse. Because now I wasn't even a good mom. I was barely a mom at all. I had emotionally checked out kind of as much as I could until I started advocating for myself um, in psychiatry. Um, I had convinced, well, really, when it happened was when I went no contact with my mother. That's when my self-worth could finally build. And it started to, but I was still with my abusive ex-partner. We had already broken up. He wasn't physically abusive. He never ever would have laid a hand on me or, whatever. Well, and he knows I would have fought back. But it wouldn't have mattered. Like, he's a really strong guy. He was pretty small, but he's strong. Anyway, that's besides the point. I just didn't feel that I had the right to try to parent him as closely as I had for the first 4 years of his life. And then leading on until he was about 7. Being in that relationship drained me. Not being able to emotionally process some really, really, really hard traumas that I went through prior to meeting that ex, because I was now in an abusive relationship and having to process daily traumas. And then my son started, I think, just to notice the difference. I didn't know anything about my capacity for unconscious energy absorption. So when we moved into low-income housing, finally, I was absorbing energies from everywhere all around me, and my depression got so bad that I did not want to see the day. I didn't want to live. I didn't want to be here anymore. Everybody was better off without me. I wasn't helping anyone with anything. My kid's dad would. Pretty much echo those sentiments. So it was confirmation, because we all know that when we want to leave, we don't even need confirmation, but when we get it, it's that much easier to think of leaving. If it wasn't for him, I would have never had a reason to change. So, thinking of all the ways that I stepped away from him, distanced myself from him, neglected him, scared him, hurt him. The guilt gets to be a lot. But I like to feel it once in a while. Because this guilt that I feel, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when I look back on who I was, the mother I was before I started making changes, this is the guilt that helped me get to where I was. Like, this guilt is my friend. This guilt wasn't there to destroy me or end my life. This guilt was with me so that I could be better. This guilt was looking out for me. Perspective is everything. And all it takes is a little inner work, a lot of tears, a lot of allowing yourself to feel the things that you won't allow yourself to feel. And we've talked about journaling. It takes a lot of journaling, apparently. I'm so bad at journaling. But I mean, like, if it works for you, anything you can do to feel those feelings, to process them, to work through them and let them go, you will be making room inside your heart for new and beautiful things, new and beautiful ways to grow. No one likes to feel guilt. But the beauty that comes out of using your guilt in a constructive way. My stomach's making noises. You can probably hear it. I haven't eaten yet. But just, it's extraordinary. That guilt is my friend. I love you.